Don't underestimate the power of small and consistent changes. I mean, we didn't transform our culture overnight. It started with something as simple as being more active on social media, sharing the wins and successes as they happen, or trying to, and then adding in that internal newsletter.
Welcome to Spill the Ink, a podcast by Reputation Inc., where we feature experts in growth and brand visibility for law firms and architecture, engineering, and construction firms. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Calco King. I'm your host, and I'm also the principal and president at Reputation Inc. We're a public relations and marketing agency for B2B professional services firms, including law firms. To learn more, go to rep-inc, that's inc with a K.com. So, law firms traditionally operate with a degree of internal separation. So, for instance, practice groups functioning independently and attorneys focus solely on their own clients. So, today we're going to talk about transforming that sort of solo practitioner dynamic by creating a culture of sharing and how that translates into real benefits for firms. So, I'm excited to welcome Brittany Lewis of Bell Nunnally to the podcast for today's discussion. She leads the firm's marketing department and she's got many years of experience in legal marketing. So, welcome to our show.
Hey, Michelle, it's so good to see you. I'm really
Yeah.
excited to be on today. I have to say that this is actually, I've done one other podcast before, but this is my first video podcast.
Oh, yay.
So I'm a little nervous, but y'all have made it very easy for me so far.
Awesome.
So I guess I'll just dive right into it.
Yeah. Well, tell me, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your career and what you do also at the firm now.
Yeah, sure. So I joined Bell Nunnally in 2018, but I've been in legal marketing since 2010. And actually, funny story, when I mentioned this to a group of first year associates that I met with earlier this week, they all collectively gasped that I'd been in legal marketing for 15 years. And honestly, the timeline surprises me too. But yeah, this is my third firm. I started at a firm in San Diego as a marketing assistant where I, kind of learned the full scope of what a marketing department in a law firm does. Then I was at one other firm prior to coming over to Bell Nunnally. And here I lead the department. It's just myself and a coordinator. And the firm is very marketing and business development minded. So we have a lot of support behind us, which is great. And it's a firm of about 70 attorneys. So for me, I found that the size is really good too, because you really get to know everyone, which is so helpful in what we do,
Yeah.
actually know all the attorneys. So
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about that culture, creating a culture of sharing. So, what does that mean in the law firm context?
when I say that, I mean like publicizing and celebrating the good news, like when we have a case win or a deal closing, or one of our attorneys joins a board or chairs a philanthropic event, or maybe does something pro bono. It's just about making sure that these successes don't stay hidden.
Yeah. And why do you think a lot of firms struggle with that, struggle with the sharing and end up so siloed?
I think, attorneys are trained to be cautious and confidential, which sometimes extends beyond client matters into like a general reluctance to promote themselves, right? And there's also the practical side. They're focused on the legal work, not necessarily thinking about the marketing value of their achievements. And honestly, some attorneys also worry about seeming boastful or self-promotional when really sharing these successes helps build the entire firm's reputation.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, we're as marketers so trained to think in that sharing way. We're always looking at content and thinking, "Oh, we can redo this, we can take this." And you're right, lawyers have been trained the exact opposite way. So, how have you helped to encourage that culture at your firm?
So when I joined in 2018, I mean, a lot of great work was happening. It was just staying more under the radar. So since then, I'd say we've implemented a few key initiatives that really shifted the culture. And also, when I say we, I mentioned previously that we're a team of two, so myself and a coordinator. But I also want to recognize and point out the importance of an external PR agency like y'all and like the ones we've used because they've really helped us in building out the initiatives and the processes. And we couldn't do it without them.
I love to hear
Um,
that.
so first, we started leveraging social media much more actively. This was actually one of our earliest changes, getting attorneys comfortable with sharing their wins and their knowledge and their experience online. Then we implemented an internal newsletter, which was huge because once attorneys began seeing their colleagues' achievements highlighted, from the case wins to the speaking engagements, all that good stuff I've mentioned, they realized that they had good news to share too. And I think it just created this positive cycle for people to become much more comfortable celebrating successes.
Yeah.
Um, and then in 2020, we launched our first annual report, and we've
Oh,
done one every year since.
interesting.
Um, so I guess we've done 5 so far. Yes, it's a huge undertaking,
I
but
know. Yeah.
yeah, the final product is great, and I will say it's a huge undertaking. But since we've established this culture of sharing, people are sharing more throughout the year. So then we can. It's more about compiling into one piece as
Yeah.
opposed to trying to get all the year's information at the end. So that's key as well. But
Yeah.
this piece of collateral really captures like the entire year in one polished publication.
Oh, I love that because it's not. I mean, obviously, I know it's not completely new, but I wouldn't say that it's incredibly common for firms to do an annual report. Tell me, like, are you? What does that report look like? Is it you? Is it success? Is it major cases and matters, awards? Is it really just saying, here's all the things we did this year and why it matters? Is that really it?
Yeah, so we always kick it off with a letter from our managing partner, and he kind of discusses like the big wins, maybe the themes and the trends of the year, and
Yeah.
then we start off with like client successes because mainly we want clients and prospective clients to know what we can do for them. So we have the case wins and the big deal closings right up at the front. We have like a list of our representative clients with their logos, which always looks really nice. And then we'll have a section on thought leadership. So just a rundown. It's just one page. Like, here are all the publications our attorneys were featured in. Here are some of the organizations that they got in front of and they spoke at. Then we'll have new hires. So a list of like all the new people that have joined with a little blurb about them. And then community leadership. That's really
Nice.
our firm is really engaged. So we kind of do highlights um, of the leadership that we have going on. Like one of our attorneys is on the EDC board. One of our attorneys chairs the state board or the state fair, which is obviously huge in Dallas. So kind of the more big appointments, and then like more of a listing of all the organizations our attorneys
Yeah.
are involved in.
I love that. And tell me a little bit about the internal newsletter. So, what are you looking to? What's the type of information you're looking to do? And do you find that attorneys are sort of jockeying to be in it? Does it create? Does it kind of get to their competitive nature at all?
I was a little worried about that at first when we started it, but surprisingly, we haven't really had anybody saying like, "Why was this in it and not
Hmm.
this?" Because we do have a disclaimer at the top that says this is a sampling; it's not
Hmm.
comprehensive, and we do it quarterly. So I would say it's just like the annual report, but on a much smaller scale, and that's stuff that has been shared throughout the few months prior. So it's just about keeping that process going throughout the year, and then the culmination is the annual report.
Right. Yeah. And I can imagine that leads to increases in cross selling, because it's very hard, even in a firm of your size, for everyone to know what everyone's doing, what their expertise is, what resources they might have internally. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that kind of an increase of just attorneys working together and tapping each other for more work?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I can't think of a specific example, but I imagine that does play into it.
Yeah.
Just to be knowledgeable about what other people are doing, uh, case wise, deal wise. Also, just oh, you're involved in this organization. I was thinking about becoming involved, or I know of someone that is on there, and I'd like to meet them. That sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, as you rolled out these initiatives, what resistance have you encountered, and sort of how do you kind of get attorneys on your side about this, or to see the value of it? What are some of the pushback that you're getting?
Yeah. So the biggest resistance I would say is, as I mentioned before, like that natural attorney caution. They're worried about client confidentiality, even when wins don't necessarily reveal sensitive information. There also some of them are more concerned about seeming boastful. And then, of course, since attorneys abide by the billable hour, just not having enough time in the day is also an issue. So to overcome these, I've found it's all about making it easy and safe for them. So, myself and my coordinator, Kate, who's amazing, we help them navigate that client approval process and ourselves, along with our external agency, will help draft language that will protect the confidentiality while
Mhm.
still celebrating the win. And, we always will say, like, we would never publicize anything without first your approval. And then it's our firm policy to have client approval in writing too. So we make sure that they know that we take it very seriously as well.
Yeah, I think that's important for you to make sure you have a reputation with them as somebody who understands these issues. So I think that's often the challenge that we as marketers run into is they're so worried that we don't understand the confidential nature and the various risks involved with marketing, because it does present risks. So the fact that you've got those 15 years of experience really helps you out a lot there.
Yes. I speak attorney
Yes, exactly.
most days.
How do you encourage, so we've talked about sort of the internal sharing. How do you encourage attorneys to do, the engagement on social media, participate in the PR efforts? What are some ways that you have talked to your attorneys about that and shown them the benefit?
Yeah, so I mean, I found that attorneys get excited about social media when they see it as like an extension of what they're already doing rather than something completely foreign. Because most attorneys are naturally passionate about their work and their experience, and social media just becomes another way for them to share that knowledge. So the key for me, in coaching them is making it easy and relevant for them. I don't ask them to become social media experts overnight if that's not their thing. For some of them, it is. They're great on social media, but for others, it's not natural. And instead, I might just say something like, "Hey, you just gave a great presentation on employment law changes. Let's turn that in to a LinkedIn post that could help other business owners." And so when they see how their existing experience
Mm,
translates into valuable content, I think they get more interested.
yeah.
And I also like to share like success stories with them. One of my favorite stories is that one of the attorneys had a prospective client. This is one of the attorneys that is very active on LinkedIn. He's really good about posting. He's actually the chair of our marketing and business development
Nice.
committee, so he understands. But he had a prospective client reach out to him simply because he had appeared in his LinkedIn page. So this client, it prompted the prospective client to remember, like, this partner does litigation work, and this person was looking for litigation counsel. So he picked up the phone and called our attorney, And then it turned into a big case. And so I understand that this is rare. It does not always happen that way. It often doesn't. But I like to share little anecdotes like that just to motivate.
Perfect. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, if you can show them that, look, it is rare, but it happens every now and then, and where it actually happens more commonly is that's one part of many touch points, right? And we're all sitting on our computer, at our computers all day, and often checking LinkedIn. So we got to be where people are to kind of create those opportunities for this kind of thing to happen. But yeah, I love those case studies. They're
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes, it's just about like staying visible and top of mind because a
Yep.
lot of attorneys will ask me, does LinkedIn really do anything? Does it really matter? And I tell them, yes, it does, because that's where your target markets, a lot of them, they're hanging out and
Mm.
they see you. It jogs their memory about who you are and what you do. And you just never know.
Yep, absolutely. So I'd love for you to, you've got these, and I hate to keep saying it because I got a lot more than 15 years. So if you could distill out of your 15 years of legal marketing experience, any kind of final thought or lesson that you'd love our listeners to take away?
Yeah, I'd say like don't underestimate the power of small and consistent changes. I mean, we didn't transform our culture overnight. It started with something as simple as being more active on social media, sharing the wins and successes as they happen, or trying to, and then adding in that internal newsletter. And now we've gone from 540 LinkedIn followers when I started in 2018 to over 4,000 today. So it's been a big jump. And our engagement metrics, which I track frequently, LinkedIn has that great analytics feature. It's a tab on the left hand side. So if you don't use it, you should. Our engagement metrics consistently measure up and rival much bigger firms. So each step built on the last. And if you're feeling overwhelmed by the idea of creating this culture of sharing, just pick one thing and start there. I think success breeds success.
Love that. And I love that you're punching above your weight on LinkedIn. So that's so important. And I love how you can look at competitors and they make it a little competitive for you too in those analytics. So, but
Yes, which
yeah,
attorneys love to see. We
yeah,
share them at our like bi-monthly marketing meetings,
fun.
the
Yes,
metrics.
that's awesome. I love that. Well, we have been talking to Brittany Lewis of Bell Nunnally. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. This has been so fun. I appreciate you and your team.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Spill the Ink, a podcast by Reputation Inc. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.